What if I told you that your worst enemy isn't the world around you, it's the voice inside your head? The one that whispers doubt, fear, and failure before you even take the first step. Most people feed this enemy every single day and then wonder why their life stays small. But today, we end that. Negative thinking doesn't just steal your joy. It steals your future. It turns opportunities into obstacles before you even see them. But here's the truth. You were never meant to live like this. There's a way to silence that voice, to take back control, and to build a life where your mind works for you, not against you. And it starts right now. 1. The poison you drink every day. You wake up in the morning and before your feet even touch the floor, it starts. A whisper, a doubt, a fear. Maybe it's quiet at first, so quiet you don't even notice it. But it's there. And if you don't stop it, it grows. Negative thoughts are poison. Slow, silent, and deadly. You don't feel it at first. You don't wake up one day and suddenly feel weaker. It doesn't work like that. It's small, tiny drops, day after day, until one morning, you realize you're not the same. You hesitate when you never used to. You second guess yourself. You talk yourself out of things before you even try. And the worst part, most people don't even know they're doing it. They think it's just how life is. They think, well, that's just me. No, that's not you. That's what you've allowed. Every time you let a negative thought sit in your mind, you feed it. Every time you say, I can't, or it won't work, or I'm not good enough, you drink the poison. And then you wonder why you feel weak. But here's the truth. You don't have to. The mind is powerful. It will believe whatever you tell it. Tell it you're defeated, and it will surrender. Tell it you're capable, and it will find a way. So the first step is simple. Recognize the poison. Catch yourself when the thoughts creep in. And when they do, don't argue with them. Don't fight them. Just replace them. Because the only way to stop drinking poison is to put the cup down. 2. The lie you keep believing. Somewhere along the way, you were told a lie, a big one. You were told that the way you think is just how you are. That some people are born positive, and others, well, they're just stuck with a negative mind. That's not true. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows. Plant negativity, and that's what takes over. Let weeds grow, and soon they'll choke out everything else. But plant discipline, plant courage, plant belief, and watch what happens. The problem isn't that you are negative. The problem is that you believe you have to stay that way. You think because you've always thought a certain way, you always will. But that's just another excuse, another way to avoid the work. Because changing your thinking is work. It's not easy. If it were, everyone would do it. But here's the good news. You can change it. It starts with a decision. A simple, firm, unshakable decision. That from now on, you will not let your mind run wild. You will not let it drag you down. You will not let it lie to you. Because that's all negativity is, a lie. It tells you things are worse than they are. It makes mountains out of molehills. It steals your energy before you even begin. But you don't have to listen. You can choose better thoughts. You can plant better seeds. And if you do, over time, your mind will change. Not overnight, not without effort, but it will change. Because the mind obeys. It follows what you feed it. So feed it truth. Feed it strength. Feed it belief. And watch what grows. 3. The first cut. Stop feeding the beast. There's a beast inside your mind. It's hungry. And every time you give it attention, every time you let it whisper in your ear, you feed it. You don't see it at first. It starts small. A thought, a doubt, a fear, just a passing thing. But the moment you entertain it, the moment you let it stay, it grows. And the more you feed it, the stronger it gets. Until one day, it's not just a thought anymore. It's a voice that speaks louder than your own. A voice that tells you what you can't do, what you shouldn't try, why you'll fail before you even begin. But here's the truth. That beast only has the power you give it. The first step to killing negative thinking isn't some complicated strategy. It's not some deep psychological trick. It's simple. Stop feeding the beast. When doubt creeps in, don't argue with it. Don't fight it. That just gives it energy. That just makes it stronger. Instead, starve it. Ignore it. Turn away. Because negative thoughts are like fire. If you don't feed them, they die. Most people don't realize this. They think they have to battle every negative thought. Wrestle with it. Defeat it. But that's a mistake. The more you fight, the more you focus on it, and the more power you give it. The real power is in indifference. When a negative thought comes, let it pass like a cloud. Don't grab onto it. Don't examine it. Don't give it a home in your mind. Just let it go. This isn't easy at first. The beast doesn't want to starve. It will fight back. It will try to convince you that you need to listen, that you have to worry, that if you don't pay attention to it, something bad will happen. But that's another lie. The only thing that happens when you feed negativity is that you become weaker. You lose energy. You lose focus. You lose the ability to see opportunity because you're too busy listening to the voice that tells you everything is a threat. So cut it off. The moment you feel that first whisper of doubt, that first tug of fear, don't engage. Don't give it a single second of your time. Shift your focus. Move your mind to something else, something better. Because the fastest way to kill a negative thought is to replace it before it takes root. And the more you do this, the weaker the beast becomes. Until one day, you realize it's not roaring anymore. It's not even growling. It's just a faint echo, a shadow of what it used to be. And that's when you know you're winning. 4. The power of replacement. You can't just stop thinking negative thoughts. That's like trying to not think of a red apple. The harder you try, the more it sticks. The mind doesn't work in negatives. It works in images, in words, in ideas. And if all you do is tell it not to think something, it will keep circling back to that very thing. So here's the secret. You don't stop negative thoughts. You replace them. Instead of saying, I can't do this, you say, I'll figure it out. Instead of thinking, this always happens to me, you ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you focus on what you can do next. Words shape reality. The ones you use in your mind determine the world you see. If you keep telling yourself you're unlucky, you'll start seeing proof everywhere. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, you'll find reasons to believe it. But if you change the words, you change the world. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's not about pretending things are perfect when they're not. It's about choosing the narrative that serves you instead of the one that destroys you. Because here's what most people don't understand. Your mind will fill the silence. If you don't give it something strong, something useful, it will default to fear, to doubt, to worry. That's just how it's wired. So you have to take control. You have to be deliberate. When a negative thought comes, don't leave an empty space where it was. Fill that space with something better. If you catch yourself thinking, I'll never get this right, replace it with, I'll keep trying until I do. If you hear yourself saying, nothing ever works out for me, replace it with, I'll find a way. At first it will feel forced. It will feel like you're just saying words, but that's okay. Keep doing it. Because repetition builds belief. The more you say it, the more you hear it, the more your mind starts to accept it as truth. And when that happens, your whole perspective shifts. You stop seeing obstacles and start seeing challenges. You stop seeing failures and start seeing lessons. You stop seeing limits and start seeing possibilities. That's the power of replacement. It's not magic, it's discipline. It's the decision to take control of your own mind instead of letting it run wild. And the best part, no one can do it for you, but no one can stop you from doing it either. 5. The 24-hour rule. Life hits hard sometimes. Things go wrong. Plans fall apart. People disappoint you. And when it happens, it hurts. That's normal. That's human. But here's where most people make their biggest mistake. They don't know when to stop hurting. They take the pain and stretch it out, day after day, week after week, until what was once just a moment of difficulty becomes a lifetime of regret. That's not strength. That's not wisdom. That's just suffering by choice. Here's a better way. The 24-hour rule. When something knocks you down, when disappointment comes, when failure stares you in the face, Give yourself exactly 1 day to feel it. Be angry if you need to be angry. Be sad if you need to be sad. Sit with it, let it burn. But when the clock runs out, when those 24 hours are up, you get back up, you move forward. Because wallowing doesn't fix anything. Regret doesn't change what happened. And suffering longer than you need to, that's just weakness disguised as grief. Pain is inevitable. Life will give you that no matter what. But suffering, that's optional. That's the part you choose. Think about it. How many days have you wasted dwelling on something you couldn't change? How many weeks have you lost replaying conversations, mistakes, failures, wishing things had gone differently? And what did it get you? Nothing. Just more pain, just more time stolen from your future. The strong don't do that. The strong understand that feelings are real, but they're not forever. They know that grief has its place, but it shouldn't overstay its welcome. So they give it a day, one full day, and then they make the decision to leave it behind. This isn't about pretending you don't feel. It's about refusing to let those feelings control you longer than necessary. Because here's the truth. The longer you stay down, the harder it is to get back up. The more you dwell on what went wrong, the more power you give it. And before you know it, what was just a setback becomes a turning point for the worse. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can acknowledge the pain without letting it define you. You can feel the disappointment without letting it dictate your future. So next time life knocks you down, set the clock. 24 hours, no more. Feel it all, then let it go. Because the world doesn't stop for your pain. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to recover. And if you don't get back up fast enough, life will move on without you. Don't let that happen. The mirror test. Every morning before the day gets its hands on you, before the world starts shouting its demands, there's one person you need to face first. Yourself. Stand in front of the mirror. Look yourself in the eye and ask the only question that really matters. Who's in charge here, me or my thoughts? Because here's the brutal truth. If you don't control your mind, someone else will. The world is full of people ready to tell you what you can't do, what you shouldn't try, why you'll fail. But the most dangerous voice isn't theirs. It's the one inside your head that agrees with them. That's the voice you have to silence. The mirror test isn't about vanity. It's about accountability. It's about looking at the person responsible for your life and asking, are you steering the ship or are you just along for the ride? Most people never do this. They wake up, rush into their day, and let their thoughts run wild. Doubts, fears, distractions, all swirling unchecked. Then they wonder why they feel lost, why they keep making the same mistakes, why life feels like it's happening to them instead of for them. But you don't have to live like that. The moment you look in that mirror and take ownership of your mind, everything changes. You start catching the negative thoughts before they take root. You stop letting fear make your decisions for you. You become the gatekeeper of your own mind. That's where real power begins. Because the world will always try to influence you. People will always have opinions. Circumstances will always push and pull. But none of that matters if you decide what gets in. So every morning, stand in front of that mirror, look yourself in the eye, and make the choice. Today, I'm in control. Not your doubts, not your fears, not the voices of those who don't believe in you. Just you. Because if you don't take charge of your mind, someone else will, and that's no way to live. The hard truth about excuses. There's a language negative thinking speaks fluently, and it's called excuses. It's too hard. I'm not ready. What if I fail? Sound familiar? These aren't reasons. They're disguises. Fear wears them like a mask, hoping you won't recognize it for what it really is. Because if you ever pulled back the curtain and saw the truth that every excuse is just fear in a different costume, you'd realize how powerless it actually is. Fear only wins if you let it. Think about the last time you talked yourself out of something. What did you tell yourself? Was it really true? Or was it just fear whispering in your ear? The mind is clever. It doesn't like discomfort. It doesn't like risk. So it comes up with stories to keep you safe, to keep you small, to keep you from stepping into the unknown where growth happens. I don't have enough experience. Now's not the right time. I'll do it when things are perfect. But here's the hard truth. Things will never be perfect. You will never feel 100% ready. And if you wait until all your doubts disappear, you'll be waiting forever. Excuses don't protect you, they imprison you. Every time you say, "I can't," you reinforce the belief that you're not capable. Every time you say, "I'm not ready," you teach yourself that preparation is more important than action. But the real preparation happens in the doing, not in the waiting. So how do you break free? First, you have to catch yourself in the act. The moment you hear an excuse forming in your mind, stop. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this fear talking? Second, you have to call it what it is. Don't dress it up as wisdom or patience. Call it fear. Call it resistance. Call it the thing that's trying to keep you from growing. And third, this is the most important part, you have to act anyway. Because the only way to prove an excuse wrong is to move forward in spite of it. The first time you do this, fear will scream louder. It will throw more excuses at you. More reasons why you should stop. But the more you act, the quieter it gets. Until one day you realize, you're no longer the person who hesitates. You're the person who does. And that's when you understand the real truth. Excuses don't hold you back. You hold yourself back by believing them. The 10-second courage rule. Fear doesn't fight fair. It doesn't announce itself with warning. It doesn't give you time to prepare. It hits fast. A sudden tightness in your chest. A voice in your head saying, "Don't do it." A wave of doubt that makes your hands free. And in that moment you have a choice. Most people let that moment decide for them. They pause, they hesitate. They listen to the fear, and then the moment passes. And so does their courage. But there's another way. The 10-second courage rule is simple. When fear tries to stop you, count to 10, then move anyway. Not when the fear is gone. Not when you feel ready. Right now, while the fear is still there. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. Think about the last time you were afraid to do something but did it anyway. What happened? The fear didn't kill you. The world didn't end. In fact, you probably realized afterward that the fear was worse than the thing itself. That's how fear works. It magnifies the risk, exaggerates the danger, makes mountains out of molehills. But the only way to see through the illusion is to act. So the next time fear tries to paralyze you, don't argue with it. Don't wait for it to disappear. Just count 1, 2. By 4, your mind will start coming up with reasons to stop. 5, 6, 7. By 8, your body might resist. 9, 10. Now move. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be graceful. Just take the first step. Make the first move. Say the first word. Because here's what happens when you do this again and again. Fear loses its power. Every time you act despite fear, you weaken its grip. Every time you prove to yourself that you can do it afraid, you build a little more courage for next time. And over time, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for fear to leave before you act. You start expecting it, acknowledging it, and moving forward anyway. That's real strength. Not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let it decide your life. So remember, 10 seconds, that's all it takes. Count them, then move. 9. The final stand. No more retreat. There comes a time in every person's life where the inner battle reaches a breaking point. It's not always loud. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it comes in the quiet of your own thoughts, when the echo of years gone by whispers the truth you've tried to ignore. You've been retreating. Maybe not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You've pulled back. You've let doubt creep in and stay too long. You've let fear get comfortable. And worst of all, you've tolerated things you once swore you wouldn't. But there's a beauty in that moment. Because when you finally see it for what it is, when you recognize the quiet betrayal of your own potential, that's the moment everything can change. You see, there's a line, and when life pushes you to the edge of that line, when you can no longer look at yourself in the mirror without a sense of deep unrest, that's when something stronger begins to wake up inside you. You don't fight back with fists. You fight back with resolve. Not anger, discipline. Not rage, responsibility. You say no more. No more sleeping on your purpose. No more hiding behind excuses. No more pretending like you've got unlimited time, because you don't. Time is moving. The sun keeps rising, the seasons keep shifting, and every day that passes is one you don't get back. And so you draw the line. You look at the parts of your life where you've allowed disorder, where you've surrendered to laziness or fear, and you decide to bring order, not in a fit of inspiration that lasts 3 days, but in a quiet, unshakable commitment that lasts as long as it takes. Because the truth is, nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody's going to carry your dream for you. The world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. People spend years negotiating with their weaknesses, trying to explain them, justify them, hide them. But when you make your final stand, you stop negotiating. You stop making room for the things that break you. You stop allowing your lower self to set the terms of your life. You start waking up with purpose, not because it's easy, but because you're done living beneath your potential. You take inventory, not of what the world has done to you, but of what you've done with what you were given. You begin to realize that discipline is not punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. When you hold yourself to a standard, when you say, this is who I am, and this is what I'm about, you no longer live on accident. You live with intention. Every day, the question isn't how do I feel? It's what must I do? Because feelings fade, but discipline delivers. Feelings may shift with the wind, but your word to yourself can become a fortress. The final stand is not a moment. It's a season. It's a decision you have to renew every day. You'll be tempted to go back. You'll have days when you want to quit. That's part of it. But you don't quit because it gets hard. You don't retreat because you're tired. You stay the course because this time the stakes are too high. This time you're not just fighting for comfort. You're fighting for your future. You're fighting for your peace. You're fighting for the person you were meant to become before you started settling. And here's the truth. Life will meet you at your level of commitment. When you decide that you will not go back. When you decide that the old ways are done. That the chapter is closed. You begin to see opportunities differently. Your eyes become sharper. Your steps become firmer. The people who used to distract you no longer hold the same power. The things that used to tempt you no longer pull you, because you've changed. Not overnight, but inch by inch, day by day, through the quiet repetition of self-respect. Don't look for the finish line. Look for the next step. And then because transformation doesn't happen in fireworks. It happens in your habits, in the way you speak to yourself when no one's listening, in the way you keep showing up when no one's clapping, in the way you choose discipline over comfort. Again and again and again. This is your stand, not because you've never failed, but because you're done staying down, not because you've never felt fear, but because you've chosen courage anyway. This isn't about winning every day. It's about never retreating again. Even if you stumble forward. Even if you fall, you rise with more clarity. You won't always feel motivated, but if you stay disciplined, the results will take care of themselves. There is strength waiting for you on the other side of consistency. There is freedom in holding the line when everything in you wants to turn back. So today, don't ask for it to be easier. Ask to be stronger. Don't wish for fewer problems. Build more courage. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Declare this the moment. Your final stand begins now, not with noise, but with quiet conviction. With a heart that says, I may not have all the answers, but I will not be defeated by my own neglect. I will rise. I will fight. I will build. I will become. And you will. One day, one habit. One decision at a time. The new mind. Built to last. There comes a moment in your life where your old way of thinking simply won't carry you any further. You've stretched it to its limit. You've leaned on what you've always believed, what you've always told yourself, and you've realized it's not enough anymore. Not for where you're going, not for the person you're becoming. You don't just need new thoughts. You need a new mind. Not the kind of mind that gets stirred by a feel-good quote or a burst of inspiration on a quiet morning. No, you need a mind that can stand its ground when the storms come. A mind that holds firm when doubt knocks at the door. A mind that doesn't melt when pressure turns up, when plans fall apart, when the world seems like it's asking more than you have to give. And here's the truth. This kind of mind doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from everything going right. It's built brick by brick, test by test, It's built in the cold hours when no one's watching. It's forged in the fire of disappointment, refined in the heat of failure, strengthened in the silence of perseverance. Most people want to change their life without changing the way they think. They want new outcomes, but they carry the same patterns. They chase success with the same excuses. They run toward goals while dragging along their doubts, and they wonder why they keep ending up where they start. But a new life demands a new mind. Not positive thinking, strong thinking. Positive thinking can lift your spirit. Yes, but strong thinking builds your spirit. Strong thinking doesn't just tell you everything will be okay. Strong thinking says, even if it isn't, I'll make it through. It's not about pretending things are better than they are. It's about refusing to crumble under the weight of what is. It's the kind of mind that doesn't break when life gets heavy. It adapts. It sharpens. It rises. A strong mind has learned to separate discomfort from danger. It knows the difference between this is hard and this is impossible. It doesn't run from resistance. It meets resistance like an old friend. Because it understands, resistance builds muscle, and the mind, like the body, only grows when it's tested. To build that kind of mind, you must first tear down what doesn't belong. The excuses you've grown attached to. The lies you've repeated so many times they've started to feel like truth. I'm just not disciplined. I always quit. I'm not like those people. These thoughts don't belong in your new mind. They were formed in your old life, in the space of survival, not strength. You are not your patterns. You are not your failures. You are not your worst day. You are what you choose to become, day after day, thought after thought. And to become something greater, you must train your mind like you train your body. You must feed it what nourishes. You must stretch it, test it, challenge it. You must confront the weak thoughts and replace them, not with fantasies, but with truths that serve your growth. You say things like, I am capable of doing hard things. Discipline is hard, but regret is harder. I don't wait for motivation. I move with purpose. I don't need easy. I need worth it. You say it until your mind begins to believe it. Not because it sounds good, but because you've proven it by showing up again and again, even when it was easier not to. This is how strong minds are built. Not in the moment of victory, but in the countless moments where giving up was an option, and you chose otherwise. Where quitting whispered in your ear, and you whispered back, not today. And let's be honest, the world doesn't make this easy. It's easier to numb your thoughts than to strengthen them. It's easier to distract than to confront. But what's easy today becomes heavy tomorrow. And what's difficult today becomes freedom tomorrow. That's the trade. That's the truth. The people who are truly free are not the ones who avoided hardship. They're the ones who faced it, square in the eye, and kept going. Your new mind doesn't run from difficulty. It is drawn to it, because difficulty is where growth hides. Difficulty is where strength lives. When your thoughts change, your choices change. And when your choices change, your life follows. The path to transformation doesn't begin with action. It begins with mindset. With a firm decision that says, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I no longer think the way I used to. And because of that, everything is changing. That's not wishful thinking. That's powerful thinking. That's thinking that lasts when the crowd disappears. That holds up when praise is replaced with pressure. That endures not just through applause, but through silence and solitude. A new mind sees obstacles and thinks, this is where I grow. It sees failure and thinks, this is where I learn. It sees uncertainty and thinks, this is where I build trust in myself. In the process, in the long road that leads to real change. And here's the beauty. Once you build this mind, it becomes your foundation. You won't need to constantly pick yourself up from zero. You won't spiral into doubt every time something goes wrong. You'll have roots. You'll have structure. You'll have a mind that's built not for moments, but for life. Because a strong mind isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's steady. It's patient. It doesn't get shaken by storms. It becomes the stillness in the storm. So begin today, not with force, but with intention. Don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be solid. Don't aim to impress. Aim to endure. Choose one strong thought and act on it. Then choose another and another. Build your new mind, thought by thought, with the understanding that real strength isn't in what you say. It's in what you keep doing when no one else sees. This is your new mind, built not in comfort but in courage, built to last. Negative thinking isn't just a habit. It's a prison. But today you have the key. The only question left is, will you use it?